Well, hey everybody, this is Chris DeFiorio with Keys to the Shop, and welcome to another edition of Shift Break. Today's episode is brought to you by La Marzocco. They've been making espresso machines by hand in Florence since 1927, and that's dangerously close to 100 years of just historic quality, innovation, dependability. Innovation like the KB90 espresso machine with a straight-in portafilter locking technology. You've got lots of different configurations of classic designs like the Linea and the Linea PB, manual like the Leva espresso machine, and more. Lots of things to fit your particular needs. So they've got something for you. You just need to reach out to them, lamarzocousa.com. And they're going to help you find the right equipment for your needs. I've been working on these machines for quite a long time. In my career as a barista, I've always loved La Marzocco. I think you're going to love them as well. So check them out again over at lamarzocousa.com. Now, also, our episode today is brought to you by Rattleware. And Rattleware over at rattleware.com is a company that's been around for quite a long time. And chances are, if you grab something on your bar, or a friend's bar, and you look underneath it, it might be a Rattleware piece of equipment or smallwares. Things like whisks and knock boxes and pitchers and shot glasses. Those are the smallwares that really support the big picture of your bar that helps it work really well. And that's what Rattleware is all about. They want your bar to work well. That's what drives them. So if you're going to be purchasing any smallwares anytime soon, I think you need to be checking out the folks over at Rattleware. Again, the website is rattleware.com. Now, today on Shift Break, I wanted to talk to you about something that I think is really important for managers and trainers specifically. And this is about small wins and the building of trust. Now, if you're an owner and you are listening to this is going to be important because you can help provide the opportunity for your management and trainers to do these kinds of things as well as a way of becoming more confident and adept at the work that will allow them to take on more in the future. But right now I'm going to speak to trainers and managers and people in middle level of leadership where what you would want to do far outweighs your ability to do it in so far as you only have a certain amount of time on your hands, resources and materials, or there's only so much that your boss is willing to let you do. And that can be frustrating because you see all of the potential. You say, oh, we should overhaul this, we should get rid of that, we should replace it with these things. And when I come into power, just like a politician, we have this tendency, and maybe it's a human trait. Like when I'm in charge, things are going to change around here and for the better. These knuckleheads, they don't know what they're doing. I'm the trainer. I'm going to totally train great until you get into the position and you realize you're limited. Just as every trainer and manager before you was limited by the reality of the work. We talk a lot about maintaining excellence. We talk about things that can be viewed as drudgery, but are actually the structure of how things are going to stay afloat and thrive in the business. It's the daily work. It's not the most appealing, but it's the necessary work. For baristas, this is the kind of stuff like cleaning and stocking and first in, first out, the basics, right? These are things we always need to major in. When it comes to management and training and that kind of stuff, the bread and butter of your job is really in the job description of that job. And you need to be knocking that out of the park right from the get-go, and as much as you can. Hopefully your job description is not written in such a way that it is impossible to do. Owners, I'm looking at you because we sometimes create this unicorn job description and then we're like, oh, we can never find a good manager. And really, you don't need somebody that good. There's the fictional job description avatar. This person needs to be able to do this and do that. They need to motivate the team. They need to, train all the baristas and our wholesale accounts and upkeep all of the equipment and do ordering and inventory and scheduling and special events and do online orders. Oh, and they need to tap dance and they need to hold their breath for 5 minutes. You just keep adding things that this person needs to do. That's just the longer the job description gets, it almost feels like this is secretly your list of proving your insecurities, to train a person, to work with a person, to be in process with somebody who's learning the leadership that you would like from to just kind of come in and take over. So let's be honest, okay? Sometimes we're not realistic with our expectations. Now, that's a little bit of a rabbit trail, but the point is, if you're a manager, you've agreed to this job description, you first of all should ask how they want these things done. If they leave it up to you, you give them a suggestion for how you will do it. And then if they agree to that suggestion for methodology, you do it. Go through it item by item on the job description. If you want to motivate employees or upkeep the culture, you ask yourself the question, well, how do they want me to do that, right? If they don't have an answer, you say, well, here's an idea. Can I do this? And that would be like how I do the motivation or the cultural upkeep and that thing, that very general term. Then if they say yes, you have something to say, well, you did agree that this was how I would do it. Let's work together to change that if it's not something to your liking. So this is a discovery process sometimes. But again, the bread and butter of your job is the basics. Doing those things first very, very well builds a foundation of trust. Those things often that you're hired to do, being the basics, sometimes don't address the things that need to be done that you do see. When I say you see all these things you want to change, I'm not saying you're wrong. You're probably right. There probably is a bunch of stuff that leadership doesn't see, owners don't see. You see it because you're so close to the work, or you come from an outside perspective with fresh perspective. But the means to get to the point of having the resource, trust, and the will of those who have the authority to back you in the doing and follow through of those tasks is really important. It's important to build that trust with small wins. For example, if you have one thing that you're doing very well, of course, first it's the job description, and you want to make sure that they're pleased with your work there. Next, if there's one strategy or project that you have out of the 10 that you want to do to change things on the bar, choose one that is very accessible, not expensive. It'll take a little bit of time from your week every week to focus on, implement, see it become part of the culture, and then track the progress of it and the fruit of that particular project across the cafe. Then we'll see, oh, so-and-so, the trainer or the manager, implemented a new strategy for a hospitality workflow in a way of greeting guests that's really effective. It's more effective. In fact, it seems like our customers are happier, and maybe we're getting some more reviews. And that's a very good sign that next time that person has an idea about what we can do, they can be trusted because this is a person who has good ideas. They have a series of wins under their belt. This is orchestrated. This is planned. And so you can't just come in guns a-blazing and think, hey, I'm the new sheriff's in town and I'm going to clean this place up, because you've got to build trust. Not only that, but you probably need to build trust with your staff. Because if you are a barista and then you are promoted to a manager, there still might be some level of skepticism, and people need time to redefine who you are in the mix of the company culture. There's a certain death that happens of you as the coworker, and now there is a rebirth of you as a manager and a boss in certain ways. That takes time as well. Okay, so this is a call for building up small wins for yourself on the behalf of the business, so that those good things that you want to do are actually supported and can be integrated to a lot of success in the future. But if you try to get too many good things at once, passionate as you may be, you might get none of them. So have patience, be wise in the way you prioritize your efforts, and collect wins for the company, and ergo wins for trusting you with things that impact the company. And more of those good ideas that you have can be implemented. And if there are things that you want to do that don't get implemented, you're not going to be as put out by it. It's not going to be as big of a deal, because it won't seem like a total rejection, because at least you'll say, they let me do this, they let me do that, I was able to make a difference here and there, and there's no hard feelings. It's just, the way things go sometimes. But hard feelings often come from being dejected when we express ourselves with passion but no plan, when it's so personal, when it's so emotional, and then when that rejection feels emotional and personal. So remove that from the equation. Make this a business move for yourself to build this foundation of small wins, prioritized effort, and focused energy. Over time, you're going to find that you can accomplish a lot. And that's some advice today on Shift Break. So I hope that you enjoyed that. And as always, grateful for you to join me on the show, listening. Don't forget to subscribe to Keys to the Shop. You can follow on Instagram at Keys to the Shop, and also LinkedIn. Follow Chris DeFirio. I appreciate all of you. And as always, we'll see you here next week for another edition of Shift Break from Keys to the Shop.